I know most of you, but I see a few new faces, and we welcome you. Tonight we're gonna do just, it's gonna be like a Bigfoot 101, and just kind of give everyone some information as to what to do if you have an encounter, what signs to look for in the forest. We know that there's been quite a number of sightings coming in, and we're trying to get out and research as much as we can, but it would be helpful if people could actually like take some photographs and cast some tracks on their own. So I'll just give you a little summary for the people that don't know much about what we do. I started the group in January of 2012 after having an encounter when I was a teenager on Stissing Mountain in the town of Pine Plains. And as I never knew what Bigfoot was, never saw the Patterson-Gimlin film or any of that, and had this experience when I was solo camping on the mountain. And so I decided years later, when I saw the Finding Bigfoot show, I decided to Google Bigfoot sightings in Dutchess County, and when I did, the first thing that came up was a sighting on Lake Road in Pine Plains, which is the road I grew up on. So that started my curiosity, and it just mushroomed from there. So what we've discovered through our research is that these creatures, I'm going to call them creatures, they're entities or forest people. We don't exactly know the origin and what they are yet, but we're working on it. So many people encounter them while they're camping, hunting, hiking, or fishing. Most encounters are non-violent, but occasionally they have been known to bluff charge people, throw rocks or sticks, and do loud vocalizations. They're more active at night, but many sightings are during the day as well. And many people report seeing glowing green, amber, or red eye shine. And it has come to our attention that the red eye shine means that they're angry, or maybe they're a bad one. So if you see red eye shine, definitely
run.
Just run. Yeah, run. So they do have an odor, and our team has all smelled it at one time or another, and it's kind of a combination of a dead animal with a skunky, musky odor. And it's, when you smell it, you'll know, that it's not a normal, just decaying animal in the woods or whatever. And so signs that they're in your area, what to look for. If you're out in the woods, we start our research, usually we look for a water source first, and then we just, work our way out through an area. But first of all, look for tracks. You look for stick structures and an X marker sometimes. Broken tree branches, 10, 12 feet in the air, sometimes higher. They will twist trees and saplings, and you look for them. They will bend over saplings in an arch, and sometimes put rocks or other sticks to bend them over. And I'll show you pictures later of some of the structures that we found, and they're also online on our website. And okay, so they sometimes pile rocks up in formations. Let's see. Okay, so in the 3 years since starting this group, I found much evidence supporting their existence, including tracks, hair samples, scat, as well as a habitation site, nests. They build nests out of branches, and sometimes they put in pine boughs on the bottom. And we found numerous Sasquatch kills of deer, and raccoons and muskrat and ducks. And a lot of times they will, with the deer, they'll break either their back leg, and it's called a twist fracture, and other times they break the neck, and a lot of times they eat the internal organs. And then they travel sometimes with coyotes, and we don't know what kind of relationship they have with the coyotes. If it's like we have dogs as pets, maybe the coyotes are like the Bigfoot's pets, and then they finish off the kill that the Bigfoot makes. Okay, so on a more local level, within a few miles of here, I've had reports of activity, and I also now believe that I have a clan of Bigfoot in my backyard. So that's kind of unnerving, but so far there haven't been any problems, so hopefully it'll stay that way. So for the last year, we've been investigating a habituation site that has ongoing activity, and hopefully later maybe we'll show you some of the gifts that the homeowner has received from the Sasquatch. And I'll show you some pictures from his house of handprints on the side of his house where they'll hit it in the middle of the night, and all kinds of stuff goes on there. So it's kind of exciting. So we're going to try to separate the facts of what we actually know to be true about their diet and their breeding, which we're learning more about, because we have found evidence that there's a breeding population in this Hudson Valley as well as across the country. So they will eat domestic animals like dogs, cats, sheep, cows, you know, the whole 9 yards. So, you know, I just got a report about a week ago of a man that his dog was going crazy in the pen out in the yard at night, and he went out to see what was wrong, and he found a trackway of Bigfoot footprints circling his dog pen. So he got really upset and packed his stuff up that night and went back to the city, and he was not happy. So we know that they live in the forest. We believe that they use caves a lot, and they've also been known to use abandoned barns or buildings as shelter in the winter. They can swim very well. They've been seen swimming, and they also climb trees very well. And I told you they make nests of the branches, and we believe they make these temporary shelters to sometimes keep their young in and while they're off hunting, because you'll find this structure that it wouldn't keep rain or snow or anything out. So we think that it's just either for them to rest or to keep the young inside. They're very curious of humans, especially children. They're known to look in the windows of people's houses, which we know they do, and some of them can be over 10 feet tall. And we have casted tracks of anywhere from 6 inches to about 20 inches, which would make that creature about 10 feet tall. And what else? They do like music. They don't like lights of any kind, they don't like cameras, and they don't like guns. And if you think you're going to get them on a trail cam, you might as well forget it, because we've put out 5 at a time, maybe even 6, and they shut down the cameras. They have the ability to either drain the batteries out or whatever they do, but researchers all over the country and the world have been reporting it. So it's not just us that's saying, oh, you know, my phone's shut off or my camera's shut off. It's a phenomenon that's happening everywhere. So we just gave up on the trail cams, and we have been able to videotape them on a regular little Sony video camera. We did not see them at the time, but we were walking through the forest and just, observing different things. And when we get home and play the video back and see something dark and freeze frame it, and we have gotten some really good pictures, which I'll show you later. And, okay, so anyway, the footprints, I'm going to show you how to cast a track and how to measure the distance between strides. They don't walk like a human does. And I'll probably show you Dr. Jeff Meldrum's book, which is a good way to start out reading about these, because he is a scientist and he's one of the few that does believe in these creatures. And so this is a good book I would recommend, Sasquatch Legend Meets Science. And there's a ton of other new stuff out there as well, so I'm just going to keep it short and sweet, and then we'll talk a little bit about the paranormal elements, because there are some, and I'm not going to deny it. And some people don't believe it, which is fine. I'm not telling anybody what to believe or what not to believe. I'm just telling you what I've experienced, and it's pretty amazing. On December 30th of last year, I went to the habituation site with the homeowner and 2 other researchers from Massachusetts, and they had what's called a FLIR camera. It's a $6,000 camera that takes night vision pictures and video. And so we knew the Sasquatch were there. We had been studying them for quite a while. And so we walked out not far from his house, and there's a fence and a creek and forest. And as soon as we walked maybe 20 yards out, they started it. And they started to throw rocks, snap off branches, break trees, which I have the photographs and video, this big around, just breaking them like they were nothing. And so the homeowner was very brave, and he continued to walk up to the fence, and we were going to gift them with some food. And so we were like, we saw some eye shine at different intervals, and it was green, so that was good. But they were tolerating us. They tolerated us, because if they wanted to kill us, they could have done it instantly. We think there were about 5 that we got on camera, but there might have been a lot more than that. But anyway, so the guy that had the FLIR camera, at one point he made contact, and he's like, contact, I got him. So he was passing the camera around to everyone to look through, to see them with their own, eyes through the camera. And when it got to me, I'm a lefty, and for some reason I touched it wrong and shut it off, so I didn't get to see what everyone else saw. But we do have the video, so that's good. So some of the other paranormal elements include zapping, which we call it zapping, but it's an electromagnetic or ultrasound disturbance that these things can do to people, and it can paralyze you and make you spin in circles. And I've witnessed it. I've been right next to people that have gotten hit with it. Luckily they haven't done it to me yet, but and so you're just like, you feel like shaky, your arms and legs stiffen up, you can get nauseous, weak, you can fall to the ground. I mean, this is just something that they're doing. And Dr. Meldrum talks about it in his book, and what he says is that certain animals like lions, elephants, they put out this low frequency sound, and they emit that, and it paralyzes their prey. So, this is just something that I've observed with my own 2 eyes, and I don't know what else to say. I mean, other people have experienced it too. So lately, locally, I have been receiving quite a few reports, and a lot of deer have been taken lately, and if you're following on my Facebook, you've probably seen the pictures, but if not, I'll show you some of the what they do with the deer, and we'll, you know, like I said, they'll also kill domestic pets and cats and everything. So, if you wanted to get involved in our group, we really need someone that's good with audio, like that can take what we get from the field and maybe put it onto, you know, something. I know there's a bunch of different things you can do, and isolate the Bigfoot calls from coyote calls or something. So we're looking for someone to do that, to help us out, and then someone else to do, help us out with our videos, because we're, you know, we like to go out in the field and do the research, but then once you get home and have to go through hours and hours and hours and try to make something to put out to the public, it's, you know, time consuming. So if anyone, or if you know anyone that would be interested, that would be great. Okay, what? You want to play that?
Yeah, just press the button.
Okay.
Just press the button.
Is this that
Just press the
one?
button.
Okay.
No, no.
Do the one you just got. That eerie one.
Wow.
And that was when? Last
That was
week?
5 days ago?
Yeah.
5 days ago.
What time of the night? Like early morning or?
Usually after, like, as soon as they're out there all day when the sun goes down.
The sun goes
Really
down,
to-
yeah.
Yeah, that's when
Yeah.
they're more active at dusk to dawn, but there's been sightings in daylight
Yeah.
right along Route 9 2 weeks ago, and the same day you had your full-on visual of a
In
black
fact, I was up there, there wasn't
Sasquatch.
a flock.
Right.
He was up there.
Right,
They follow you around.
they'll follow you. They,
Not on that
yeah.
one.
Tell me
Yeah.
the story when we went up to Pine Plains, the perfume
Oh, yeah,
in the middle of the buck.
Yeah.
The muck in the.
yeah.
the-
This was what, a couple of weeks ago, we took
Yeah.
Pete up to our research area that we've gotten so many different things have happened up there, and we all got just hit in the face with this odor, and you know, it just kind of stopped us dead in our tracks, because it wasn't like the normal rotten horrible smell, but it was more of a floral smell, and it's in the dead of winter, so we know there's nothing blooming. And Pete has a theory that when the females are pregnant, they give off this different scent. So, I mean, we're still learning. There's so much to learn that I don't believe anyone's an expert in the field of Bigfoot research, but we're certainly putting our time in and sharing what we do know with the public, and just letting people be aware. And it's never, your life will never be dull when you get into Bigfoot research, because there's always stuff to talk about. And, you know, if you like being in nature, it's important to get out there and just enjoy, you know, the Hudson Valley. It's beautiful. So I guess what I'm gonna do is ask if anybody has any questions or comments or sightings.
Is everybody here local? Yeah?
Pretty much.
Across the river.
Oh, you're
Okay,
from
local.
across the river.
Catskill?
Yeah,
Kingston.
okay.
Oh, we just got a report
Catskill's
from
good.
a
Yeah.
guy in Kingston.
Yeah.
First, he had a sighting last year on the rail trail, a young guy, and he was just walking by himself, and he would hear every time he would walk, this creature, he would hear the stomping, and when he would stop, that would stop. So they call that paralleling. So I guess he turned a corner and the thing popped out right in front of him. And he said he was just so shocked that he didn't like run away or anything. He just stood there, and then the creature left. And so now he lives by McDonald's in Kingston. I'm not sure which McDonald's it is. And he's like, I know this is gonna sound really weird, but he looked out his bedroom window and he heard something out there, and the next day he went outside and there's Bigfoot tracks out his bedroom window, right near McDonald's. And I'm like, well, they smelled the hamburgers and they were hungry.
They're smarter than that.
Yeah, but now you said you're from the Catskill area, so up in that area, we've also had
Yeah.
reports from Claverack? Claverack?
That's on
That's-
this.
Oh, that's on the
other
other
side.
side, so
Yeah.
excuse me, okay. I'm still new to the
I was talking to a guy
state.
in Florida, he's in Florida now, because he lives up all the way up at the top of the Catskills over the back. It's honeycombed with caves up there.
Oh, boy.
And that's where he
Wow.
had his first encounter. Now he's in Florida, and they actually follow him
Yeah.
to Florida side.
Well, there's
Yeah.
a ton of skunk apes down there. I'm from Florida, so I know.
Well, they say that
Yeah,
if they
they do.
like you,
They
they
attach
will
to you.
follow
They
you
will.
home.
They get attached to
Right.
you, and then they follow the power lines, and
Yes.
and that's how they connect
Yeah.
state to state. I mean, it's amazing to think about, but it's ingenious when you think about
I'm
it.
gonna recommend, because I just watched this today and it blew my mind, and I told Barbara and John and Patrick about the Sasquatch Ontario.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
There's a new interview, and you can go on YouTube and Google it,
Mm-hmm.
and it's about a habituation site, and the strangeness that's going on there is incredible.
Yeah.
But this is a really nice clan that's friendly and that gifts them with different, handmade twisted things. And I wanted to show you before I forget, these flowers were gifted to us at the site that we went to, and there wasn't anybody else in the there was one guy that jogged in and jogged out of the area. I don't think that the jogger's gonna go in the swamp, pick these flowers, twist them up, and then stick them in the fence, and because we've been gifted before with different things. But see the way they use, like, I don't know what it is, like part of a weed, and it was just like, we were so excited to have this gift. And we
But
actually did a little video clip.
This was after you'd been leaving pastries in there,
Yeah,
right?
we were, I also gift them whenever we go out, we just gift them with, food and, apples and whatever we have
Here, let's
left
get
over.
a nice. Well, we've got our video on it, but let's.
Yeah, we have a
Yeah.
video on it, but some people don't have, internet. But, they puffed out, but at the time, they were purple and yellow.
They were not in the fence when we went in on.
No, they weren't
We went in
there,
on
and
the
there were
same area we
5 of
came
us,
out, and they
right?
were not there in the fence.
Yeah.
And there was no one else around.
No. So that was, we're gonna keep these forever.
Literally.
Flowers from the Sasquatch. And then this track we cast after a sighting, and this was in Nevis, New York. And one of our team members that isn't here right now, he drives a taxi cab, and he drove past the habituation site, and he looked to his left, and standing in a field in front of a boat that was for sale was a huge blondish colored Sasquatch. So the next day, my son Keith and I went there that morning, and sure enough, exactly where Michael Patrick said he saw the creature were two decent tracks, but it was raining, so we only could get this one, plus we were trespassing. And then we saw where it had run into the forest, heading right for the habituation site. And then there's this track I think Sue Ann and I got this one in the place that we researched near Stissing Mountain. I think this was about a 14-inch track. And this was heading like up the hill off the trail. So, but I'm using plaster of Paris, which is a little bit fragile. I found out yesterday or the day before online that there's 2 other materials that works better for casting, but one's like a dental type of thing that's really hard, and I have to order it online. And then I have another track that I think we got that from the farm in Tivoli. There's a lot of action in Tivoli. A lot of times we get reports near the river and the tributaries to the Hudson River. So they're, eating the fish or the freshwater clams, the herring that come up the river in the spring.
Have you ever had any reports around Bard?
Yes.
Really?
Yeah.
Like where?
Well, what's the name of the
White
road
Road.
you used to live on where the
Part of the main.
condos are?
Oh, Woods Road. Woods Road in Tivoli,
Yes.
which is, kind of
Yeah.
heading the other way from Bard, from Tivoli.
Yeah.
But the Tivoli Bays is,
Yeah.
a very logical.
Yeah. And
Are you a
also-
Bard student?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Well, Rick actually got on audio. He lives right on Woods Road, and I lent him my recorder, which I'm going to suggest that people get a recorder. And he went out one night and banged on the tree, and a few seconds later.
Well, what caused me to do it was we had a lot of deer that came into our yard every day, and we feed them a couple apples or something. And they hadn't been around for a couple of days. And I live in a 2nd floor apartment overlooking the woods. And there was just a lot of rustling and noise and cracking and carrying on in the woods. So I went out and I said, well, what the hell? I took a 2x4 and swung it at a tree a couple of times, made a really loud crack, and Gayle's recorder on, and you can hear the hit that I made. And it was a minute or so later, 2 hits from back deep in the woods. And this is a place where people don't go. It's owned by hoity-toits that don't like people, and they'll chase you out the minute you go in. And
Do you ever go on that trail, like from
Yeah.
Bard to Tivoli Bays?
Yeah, I have only walked all the way a few times, but I just spent a lot of times in the woods around Bard.
Have you heard any weird whistles or like tree knocks or branches
No,
breaking or no?
Not particularly.
Okay.
My experience.
Because that is a prime area. We, Gayle and I were on Kid Lane
Kid Lane, yeah.
last year in the winter, and we stopped on the bridge there, and we actually did video some prints that were way down by the river that, I mean, you couldn't get down there. It was so steep that people could not just actually go down there and walk around. So there's some activity going on down there, there's no doubt.
Yeah.
Yes, definitely. Well, the one guy reported to me, he lives in the condos, and he's said that he's hearing these howls at night and wood knocking.
Yeah.
So we haven't gotten over there yet to do.
Well, we
research.
one night I was awakened by a scream that I can only say it made your hair stand up. I mean,
Wow.
it was loud and it was long, and I have no idea what animal could make that.
Right.
I mean, you'd have to have a huge lung capacity to make a scream that loud, that long. It did sound a little bit like a rabbit. If anybody's ever heard a rabbit that's been maybe had its neck twisted or something, I mean, they can scream, unbelievable scream, and but it was like 100 times louder.
Yeah.
And
Well, that's like
Yeah,
Igor at the river.
I did ask a friend that works for DEC if deer could make that noise, and he didn't think so. But he did suggest that we do have mountain lions around here
Right.
now,
Yeah.
even though he's not supposed to admit it.
Right, right, yeah.
On trail cams, we got them on trail cams.
Yeah, that you can get on the trail cam. Bears,
Oh, they're
lions,
here.
deer. Sasquatch, very rarely, once in a blue moon. But anyway, so I think I'm